Growing beets is a journey that every dedicated gardener should experience. These root vegetables are nutritious and hardy, but achieving a heavy harvest of sweet and tender beets requires more than just planting seeds in the soil. July is the most critical time for your plants. It is the moment when the biological clock of the vegetable shifts from leaf production to root expansion. Many gardeners struggle during this month because they do not understand the nutritional requirements of their crop. They see lush green tops and assume that everything is going well until they harvest only tiny and woody roots in the fall. Today, we will explore every single aspect of cultivating perfect beets so that you never face a disappointing harvest again. To master this process, you must first understand the internal mechanics of the plant. During the early weeks of spring, the beet invests all its energy into building a massive solar panel, which we see as the green foliage. These leaves are the factories that produce energy and sugars. As July arrives and the daylight hours remain long, the plant starts to store its bounty. It stops pushing energy upwards and starts sending it deep into the soil to store it within the root. This is the physiological transition that you must support with specific nutrients. If you fail to manage this transition, you will lose the potential for a high yield. The first step in our professional program is the preparation of the soil environment. Before you apply any form of nourishment, you must ensure that your soil is adequately hydrated. This is a rule that admits no exceptions. Fertilizing dry soil causes immediate stress to the plant. The high concentration of minerals in the soil solution will draw moisture out of the root hairs, which leads to permanent damage known as root burn. You must irrigate your entire patch with plain water at least 2 hours before you start the feeding process. This allows the roots to prepare for nutrient uptake and ensures that your fertilizer spreads evenly throughout the root zone instead of burning the plant. Now we focus on the first major feeding, which should occur during the first 10 days of July. The plant needs potassium above all else at this stage. Potassium is the element that controls the movement of sugars from the leaf canopy down to the storage organ, which is the beet itself. If you do not provide enough potassium, the sugar production will remain trapped in the leaves. Wood ash is your best tool for this. It is a gift from nature that is packed with potassium and calcium. Take 1 liter of sifted wood ash and combine it with 10 liters of warm water. The warmth of the water helps to activate the release of the minerals. You need to let this mixture sit for at least 24 hours and stir it every few hours to ensure that the extraction is complete. Before you use it, you must strain the liquid carefully to remove any pieces of charcoal or organic waste. Apply this mixture directly to the soil near the base of the plant. A single bucket is enough for 1.5 square meters of your garden. If you prefer to use mineral solutions, you can turn to potassium sulfate. This is a pure form of potassium that works rapidly and does not contain any chlorine. Chlorine is a substance that many root crops struggle to tolerate, so keeping it away from your soil is a wise decision. Mix 15 to 20 grams of the powder into 10 liters of water. Pour this liquid slowly around the base of the plants. Be sure to avoid getting the solution on the green foliage because some varieties can be sensitive to liquid residue during the hot summer afternoons. 2 weeks after you have provided the potassium, you must move to the most important stage of the season, which is the application of boron. Most gardeners skip this step, and that is why they end up with beets that have hollow centers or black spots inside. Boron is a trace element that acts as the primary builder of the internal cell walls. It ensures that the beet is solid, dense, and uniformly sweet. Without sufficient boron, the cells do not divide properly and the plant becomes susceptible to various physiological disorders. To prepare this, take 5 grams of boric acid. Boric acid is notorious for its refusal to dissolve in cold water. You must heat a small amount of water until it is near boiling and dissolve the powder completely until the liquid is perfectly clear. Then you can mix this concentrate into a full bucket of 10 liters of water. Apply this solution to the soil surface under your beets. You should strictly avoid overhead spraying for this step. Applying boron as a root drench is the most efficient and safest way to ensure the plant absorbs the mineral without suffering from leaf scorch. Remember that once you have treated a specific bed with boron, you should stop harvesting the greens for your kitchen because they are no longer suitable for food. Beyond the specific fertilizing schedule, your daily management practices in July are essential. Watering is a daily task that you must perform with precision. Beets do not like to dry out, but they also hate sitting in pools of water. Aim to water them every 5 to 7 days depending on the intensity of the heat. You must ensure that the water reaches a depth of 15 to 20 centimeters, so that the roots are encouraged to grow downwards instead of outwards. Mulching is the secret weapon of the professional gardener. By covering the soil with a thick layer of straw or dried grass, you regulate the temperature of the soil. Cool roots are happy roots, and happy roots lead to larger vegetables. Another critical aspect of your July management is the spacing of the plants. If you planted your seeds too close together, they are currently fighting for every gram of nitrogen and every drop of water. You must go through your rows and perform a final thinning. Every beet plant needs about 8 centimeters of clearance on all sides. Do not be afraid to pull out the weaker plants to give the stronger ones the room they deserve. We must address some of the common myths that circulate among amateur gardeners. One such myth is the use of table salt to improve sugar content. This is a dangerous practice. While it is true that beets can tolerate some sodium, they do not require it, and the long-term impact of salt on your soil is purely destructive. Salt destroys the beneficial microbial structure of the earth and makes it harder for the plant to absorb other critical nutrients. You are much better off relying on proper potassium levels to naturally boost the sweetness of the fruit. Also avoid using fresh animal manure at this time. Fresh manure is extremely rich in nitrogen, and it will signal the plant to grow more leaves instead of focusing on the root. Only use well-composted organic matter if you need to improve the texture of your soil. To achieve maximum success, you should also observe the overall health of your crop. Look closely at the leaves during your weekly checks. If you notice any yellowing or signs of pests, you must act immediately. July is a high-pressure time for pests and diseases because of the warm weather. Early intervention with organic soap sprays or neem oil can save your entire crop from being decimated by aphids or other insects. Remember that healthy plants are far more resistant to disease than stressed ones, so keeping your fertilization and watering on schedule is the best form of pest management you can employ. Another point of consideration is the variety you choose. Some varieties are specifically bred for quick summer growth, while others are intended for long-term storage. Make sure you are aware of what you are growing, as this will determine when you should expect the final maturity of the roots. Harvesting too early or too late can drastically impact the sugar levels and the storage life of your beets. A properly mature beet should be harvested when the soil is relatively dry if you plan to store them for winter. This ensures that the surface of the root is clean and free of excess moisture, which prevents rot during the cold months ahead. We must also talk about the importance of soil aeration. Even if you have good soil quality, the trampling of feet or the impact of heavy rain can cause the ground to become compacted. Compacted soil is the enemy of root expansion. Use a hand tool to gently loosen the surface layer of the soil between the rows of your beets. Be very careful not to get too close to the roots, as you do not want to disturb the underground structure. Aeration helps oxygen reach the root zone, which is vital for the metabolic processes that result in large and healthy roots. By the end of July, you will start to see the results of your efforts. The roots will be expanding rapidly, and the foliage will be healthy but not overly lush. As the season turns toward autumn, you can prepare for the harvest by reducing the frequency of your watering. This helps the beets to store even more sugar as they prepare for the period of dormancy. Following these steps ensures that you will have a harvest that is not only large and heavy, but also incredibly sweet and tender. These vegetables will be perfect for storage in a cool cellar and will provide you with fresh nutrition well into the winter months. Gardening is a long-term commitment, but the rewards of a successful harvest are worth every bit of the effort you put in. Thank you for staying with us throughout this masterclass. We hope that you feel confident and ready to take on the challenges of your garden this season. If you found this information helpful, please support the channel and share these tips with fellow gardeners. Your success is our primary goal, and we look forward to hearing about your record-breaking beet harvest in the comments. Gardening is an art and a science combined, and every year you will learn something new that makes you a better grower. Keep your soil healthy, keep your plants fed, and enjoy the bounty of your garden. We wish you the most productive harvest of your life. Happy gardening to all of our viewers.